So we now go on to the second website where I want to show you the color combinations. Now with the first one, I picked it from primary colors, from the Canva color wheel. Now here, the second one, I got from this site here, Coolers. Now it is not the same thing because I have a different crop. I deleted that first image that I got the combinations from in that video that I made, the tutorial that I made a few days ago. But this is just to remind you how it went. And that one, I actually copy-pasted everything in here. However, there's something quite important that I noticed afterwards. These are not hex colors, because hex colors have 6 digits, but these actually have 8. And for some very strange reason, they have put an FF, which is actually usually for white, behind the hex color. So before you can use them in Wix, you actually need to make sure that you have deleted these 2 F letters, like I'm doing right now. So be very careful with that, because with the F letters it won't work. So let me show you the finished site that I made first. This is it right here. Again, let me do an F11 so that we see the whole thing. When we do an F11, for some reason I get this little white line, which is very annoying, but nothing to be done about it. So all those colors that I got from that combination, I have used in this website. They are very, very muted colors, so they are all very close to gray, but in different ways. Some of them are warmer, some of them are more like bluish, but they are all very, very quiet, muted colors. So let's just quickly look at the different pages. So for example, here we have one that is more like green. The background is always the same. I always have this very neutral gray, but it's one of the ones that I picked. So let me just quickly go to the other one. So here we have one which is more like blue, and then here we have one which is more like a lighter blue, and that's pretty much it. So there are few colors. There's just a few colors, and then we have this deep bluish gray on the header and then on the footer. So now let's go to the website editor and let's look at what happened here. So again, I went to the theme manager. This time I left only the first row neutral, so this is from white to dark gray. Didn't touch that at all, and I couldn't paste all of the colors. I have a lot of colors here. I have 6. I could only paste 4, so I tried the most important ones, and these seem to me to be the most important ones. So again, it works like this. You just click on this and then you paste your hex color in here. But again, to repeat, you have to get rid of those. If I go like this, it'll come back. You have to get rid of those 2 F letters, otherwise you won't be able to even paste it in here. And again, just to remind you that you can adjust all these shades. You can increase the saturation of this, you can increase the brightness, whatever, if you want to. Obviously I don't want to do anything like that. I want to have a nice harmonious color scheme. And here it gives me a sort of a preview about what this might be. I haven't ever clicked on this, so they have their own themes here apparently, but I'm not going to be using any of those. I just tried that out now. So this is it. Now you're already familiar with this layout with the 3 columns, and then I have a little piece of text here. And again, with all these muted colors, I used a lot of white and black, because again, I'll repeat that, white, black and gray are your best friends. Now on this particular layout, I already have a lot of best friends. I have a lot of grays, but then in addition to that, I'm using black and white. And a reason for using a color scheme like this, which is very, very muted, is because this type of a color scheme works really, really well with all sorts of photographs. So if we go to the food page here, so I have a brightly colored, beautiful food photograph here at the top. And then I have all sorts of other brightly colored, like I have this bright salmon color. And because everything else is very neutral, all the other tones are very neutral, I have no trouble at all working with photographs that are like this, that have a very powerful color presence. Now with the one before, with the primary colors tutorial, there was that problem. If you remember, when I was putting in the food photographs, the only way I could get it to work was by putting black separators between them, and then also desaturating the colors even a little bit. So on this one, I have these three videos. So I have another gray here, I have the bluish gray up on the top, and then we have this final page, which is about the social media and TV, how you need to get rid of those if you want to lead a better life. And then here again at the top I have a bright colored tabby cat, a beautiful Bengalese. And then I also have this is not a very bright photograph, but still. And then I have this with this huge purple here. Now I would not be able to use a photograph like this with such a big purple area if, for example, I had a bright blue or a bright pink or something like that here on the side. Now this only works when you actually have a very neutral color scheme that you can set these photographs up against. So now let's go through the pages and see if there's anything here that I need to tell you about. Now obviously with something like this, there's going to be less stuff to tell you than with the other one, with the primary colors one. There's quite a bit here that I would need to probably maybe talk about in regards to typography, but that's for another tutorial. Now again, just to show you one thing, whoops, sorry, no, actually I was doing the right thing. Why did I say sorry? Now I just moved this photograph over to the left, because here what I did, and I did this on all the pages, change page background. So I picked a gray, which I actually obtained. I didn't use these colors directly, I actually added a color. I think I started with this one, but then I made it even a little bit lighter, so that's the color that I added to the page. And then again I went to design, switched to this right here, and then just left it white, exactly like you're seeing right now. So actually the way that this design works is that the central part on all the pages is white, this part here, and then I put container boxes on top of it, like so. And so everything that you see here is actually the page. So let's just talk just a little bit about what I did with these inset text here. Now I did different little things with most of them. On this one, I added the text inside. I put it inside a container box, so it has a white background. And the reason I did that is because if I had this text straight on the image without the box, and I made it white, nobody would be able to read it, and they wouldn't even be able to read it even if I made it really big. See? So the box has a purpose, because I was telling you this in class, remember? Make sure that the things that you are using in your designs actually have a purpose. You're not putting them there for the hell of it, but you're putting them there because they actually have a purpose. So in but this one here, for example, I don't need a box behind it. If I just put it down in white, this is going to be perfectly legible, so I just left it like that. This one I put a black highlight behind it, because without that black highlight, again, this would be very difficult to read, regardless of whether I make it black or white. it would be really hard to read this. And even if I make it much bolder, so don't ever make this mistake of thinking that, oh, if I make the text really bold, then it'll work. No, we have to wait for a couple of seconds for Wix to be able to display this. See, it's still not legible. So that is why it has the black box behind it. Now, I didn't put text inside every picture, like this one, for example, doesn't have any text inside, but I put it below it because I wanted to create a variation. I didn't want to have the same boring thing every time. So this, for example, is also outside. This is outside. So basically, on this page, what I have to tell you is this. I have the rulers. Now, there's one thing that happened here that I'm just noticing right now. I actually, what happened is, while I was working on this, I moved the logo type. So it was like this. I had actually aligned it to the eye, and that's how it was supposed to go, and that is actually how it is, how I published it. But then I reverted to an older version where this thing had actually been in another place. So that's why that happened. But other than that, I have the one guide here which is up against his ear. I have one on the left hand side, one on the right hand side, and then one where the eye is, and then I'm aligning everything to these things. And again, I want to repeat this, alignment is a very, very, very important part of graphic design, of making a graphic design project work, of creating consistency, between pages, between design elements. So make sure that you are actually working with the rulers. Now, for example, another thing I should show you. Now, on the first page I have this huge big thing here, but if we go to I'm nervous, let me put a guide here. And then this here, as you can see, these two strips are perfectly aligned. So they end at exactly the same spot. I must have moved that guide, but while I was designing it, I was actually paying attention to the fact that the two strips should be exactly in the same place. Now, again, I said this in the other tutorial as well. The nice thing about having a narrow header, and this is a very narrow header, so let's just go here to look at this. When you have a very narrow header, like this one here, let me actually make this full screen. We have to wait for this thing to go away. The nice thing is that you can do different things on all the pages, on the tops of all the pages. So here I have a completely different picture than this here. And then on this one, I don't have a picture at all. I just have a headline at the top. I just have a piece of typography. And then here, I have these huge big guys that are the entrance. So it gives you the ability to create variations from page to page, which are still consistent within the same design scheme, because you still have the same header and you still have the same alignments, which are very, very important, like I was just saying. So basically that's the second one, which was made with muted colors, and I'm going to probably continue to make other variations of this angry cat website concept in order to show you more stuff. For example, background images. I was thinking of making one that explains to you how background images should be used rather than color fields. So I'll see you later.